I want you to do something for me. If you're in a safe place to do it, I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
If you're driving or operating heavy machinery, please keep them open. But try to engage your mind's eye. Picture this. You are standing at a window.
Mm-hmm.
You are incredibly high, up maybe 30, 40 stories. The wind is howling a bit. And, with absolute certainty that you are about to jump.
Already, my palms are sweating. That is a visceral image to start with.
It gets worse. You look down at your chest. You're wearing a parachute, which is good, but you check the straps, and they are loose.
Oh, no.
I don't mean a little bit slack. I mean, they are not secured properly at all. They're just sort of hanging off you.
Mm-hmm.
And your shirt, it's completely unbuttoned, flapping wildly in the breeze.
Flap.
You are, by every single standard metric of safety, logic, and preparedness, totally unequipped for what you are about to do.
That sounds like the classic anxiety dream. The specific kind where you wake up gasping for air, heart hammering against your ribs.
Yeah, I forgot to study for the test stream.
Exactly, but with, much more lethal consequences.
Exactly. It has all the hallmarks of a nightmare. But here is where our story today takes a sharp, fascinating left turn. For the protagonist of our deep dive today, a creator, strategist, and dreamer named Mike Hughes Hayes, this wasn't a nightmare.
Right.
In the source material we're analyzing, he describes this specific scenario as the greatest dream of his life. Because he doesn't step back from the window, he jumps.
He goes for it.
He takes that leap with the loose straps and the open shirt, and instead of plummeting, he soars.
And that image, that specific visual of the unprepared leap, is actually the perfect entry point for what we're discussing today.
It really is.
We aren't just sitting here analyzing a dream journal for the sake of psychology. We are diving into a fascinating collection of source materials that pivot from a personal dream log into a full-blown, sophisticated philosophical framework for artificial intelligence.
It is wild how this connects. I mean, we're looking at a stack of documents here that includes a very detailed dream journal, some poetic reflections inspired by Richard Brautigan.
Right, and then strategic emails regarding a nonprofit launch called SAFE.
And even plans for a documentary and multimedia strategy using Notebook LM. And the central theme holding it all together is something Mike calls elevated AI communication.
Which is such a refreshing way to frame it.
Yeah.
Usually when we talk about AI in 2026, we are talking about, productivity hacks or coding or the singularity.
Stock prices.
Yeah. We get bogged down in the technical how-to. But this deep dive is about the why. It's about using AI to, as the source quotes it, soar above the fray.
To escape the maze of confusion. I love that phrasing. It really, really resonates with the current state of information overload we all feel.
It's powerful. The core tension we are going to unpack today is that feeling of being not ready.
The unbuttoned shirt.
The unbuttoned shirt versus the absolute necessity of taking the leap anyway. It's about how technology, specifically AI, can be the wind that catches you.
So our mission today is to connect these dots. We are going to see how a dream about flying over San Francisco evolved into a serious plan for educating seniors about AI.
Huge leap.
A huge leap. We're going to figure out what an active AI ally is, because that term comes up a lot. And we're going to talk about a phrase that pops up repeatedly in the notes. Machines of loving grace.
That is a beautiful phrase. And it suggests a future that is very, very different from the dystopian sci-fi we are used to.
Absolutely. So let's start where it all began. The dream itself. This isn't just a fleeting thought Mike had. He wrote this down with incredible specificity in his logs.
He did. And in the source material, he describes it as a foundational metaphor. The setting, he says, is key here. He starts in San Francisco.
Why San Francisco, do you think? The source doesn't explicitly spell it out, but it feels so relevant.
So think about it. San Francisco is the cradle of the current tech revolution. It's the epicenter of this whole AI boom.
Right. Silicon Valley's front door.
Exactly. But it's also a city that's defined by fog, by hills, by a certain kind of beautiful complexity. You can easily get lost there.
The maze of confusion on the ground.
That's it. So in the dream, he's there, he's high up, and he's with his wife, Nancy.
Okay, so he's on the ledge, about to make this terrifying jump. And he mentions specifically, I was with my wife, Nancy. And I think this detail is really, really important. She wasn't screaming, don't do it, or trying to pull him back.
No, quite the opposite. The source says she was excited for him.
Excited. Can you imagine?
It's incredible. She represents this lack of fear. In the context of the deeper meaning here, Nancy seems to symbolize the encouragement we all need. That human element that says, it's okay to take the risk, I'm with you.
She is the first ally in the story.
That's a perfect way to put it. She is.
So he jumps. He's got the loose parachute, the open shirt. He is literally not ready, as he puts it. But then the physics of the dream take over. He is soaring over water.
Right, and it's effortless.
He describes visiting different ports and towns around the world.
And the imagery here is really serene. He talks about dipping his feet in the water and then being elevated back up again. It's not a struggle.
No.
It's not a fight against gravity. He calls it an ultralight feeling, like there's no weight to him at all.
And the reception he gets. This part really stood out to me. He says, people at these ports were waving and smiling warmly.
They were welcoming him.
They were saying, come on in.
That is crucial, because often we think of elevation or soaring in a tech context as being detached. You know, you're up in your ivory tower or your server farm, looking down on the ants.
Disconnected.
Totally disconnected.
Yeah.
But in Mike's dream, the elevation leads to connection. He's touching down, he's engaging, he's being welcomed. It's a shared experience, not a solitary escape.
Okay, so let's really deconstruct the symbolism here, because Mike draws a direct line between this dream and AI. Why does the unpreparedness matter so much? Why highlight the unbuttoned shirt?
I think this is maybe the most profound insight in the source material, and it's one that every listener really needs to hear.
Okay.
Think about how most people feel about AI right now. They feel like they don't understand the code. They don't know how the large language model weights work. They feel their parachute isn't strapped in.
They feel unprepared. They feel like if they jump, they're going to crash and burn.
Exactly. They're waiting to feel ready. They're waiting for the moment where they understand everything before they start using the tools. And Mike's point is, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You don't need to be a computer scientist to soar. You don't need to have your shirt buttoned up tight with all the technical certifications. The wind catches us anyway. The wind is the technology. It lifts you regardless of your technical readiness.
That is such a relieving thought. I mean, it takes all the pressure off. You just have to be willing to jump.
Right. It completely reframes the barrier to entry. The technology compensates for the human lack of preparation. It fills that gap.
And then there is the concept of perspective. When you are on the ground, Mike describes it as being in the mud or the maze.
The vase of confusion. We have all been there. I think we're there most days.
Most days, yeah.
When you are in a maze, all you see are walls. You're dealing with email overflow, conflicting data, administrative drudgery. You don't know if you're turning left or right towards the exit.
You're just reacting.
You're just reacting. But the moment you elevate, even just 20 feet up, the maze becomes a map. You see the pattern. That is what Mike believes AI does. It elevates your perception so you can see the pattern of your life or your work or your communication.
It gives you that 30,000-foot view.
Precisely. And the emotional core of this dream, the feeling that underpins it all, is grace. He explicitly links it to Richard Brautigan's poem, All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace.
Which is a famous counterculture poem from the 60s, right?
It is. Brautigan wrote that back in 1967. It envisioned this kind of cybernetic ecology where technology and nature coexist in perfect harmony, allowing humans to be free of labor and return to a natural state.
A technological utopia.
For a long time, people read it ironically as a dystopian warning. Like, oh yeah, sure, the machines will be loving, right?
Yeah.
Sarcastic.
But Mike isn't reading it ironically.
No. And neither are the people he cites, like Dario Amodei from Anthropic. They are reclaiming that vision sincerely. They're asking, what if the machines could be loving? What if the goal of AI isn't to replace us, but to create a heavenly or idyllic state, those are Mike's words, where we are free from the drudgery to just be human?
So it shifts the whole narrative from AI will replace us to AI will hold us up.
The wind beneath my wings, as the source quotes. It's the ultimate support system.
Okay, let's dig deeper into this philosophy, because Mike doesn't just leave it at, it was a nice dream. He actually builds a whole cognitive framework out of this. He talks about escaping the mud.
The mud is a recurring theme in his notes. He talks about people being stick in the muds or stuck in the muck of everyday life. This represents the noise, the overwhelm, the inability to see a way forward.
I think we can all relate to that feeling of being stuck.
Oh, absolutely. It's the modern condition.
And the solution is this elevated AI communication. But he breaks it down into a hierarchy. He mentions 3, or really 4, dimensional levels of AI perception. Let's walk through those, because I think this is the practical roadmap for our listeners.
Sure. So imagine this as a ladder climbing out of that mud. The very first rung is perception.
Perception. Okay.
This is simply seeing more than what is right in front of you. It's the data intake. A human can read maybe one book in a week. You're fast. An AI can read an entire library in seconds.
It just expands the field of view.
Massively. It perceives the data landscape in a way we physically cannot. It widens the aperture.
Okay, so that's the base. What's the next level up the ladder?
The next level is reasoning. The source calls it the reasonable mind.
The reasonable mind.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Mike argues that AI helps us process all that information logically. It strips away the emotional panic of being in the maze and helps us find balance, fairness, and truth.
That's interesting. Using AI to become more reasonable. I think a lot of people worry AI creates hallucinations and misinformation, but here the argument is that it helps clear the fog.
If used correctly, yes. As a tool for thought, it creates a thinking mind. It can act as a check on our own biases, our own emotional reactions.
I see. So after reasoning, what's next?
Then, the next level is imagination.
Ah, expanding the scope of what is possible.
Exactly. And this seems counterintuitive, right? We usually think of imagination as the strictly human domain, the thing machines can't do.
The last bastion of humanity.
Right. But Mike flips that. He suggests that once you perceive the truth and reason through it, AI acts as a multiplier for imagination. It asks, what if? You can offer metaphors you hadn't thought of. It helps you see all the different ports you could visit.
And finally, what's at the top of the ladder?
Action. Turn that insight into impact.
Right.
It's not enough to just dream of flying. You have to actually visit the ports. You have to engage with the world. You have to take that elevated perspective and do something with it.
There is a really striking metaphor in the source text about poison into medicine. This felt like the secret sauce of his framework. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Oh, I love this part. It's a very old, almost alchemical concept. Mike writes about taking challenges, which he calls poison, and using this elevated perspective to turn them into medicine or even elixir.
That sounds almost magical. Can we make it a little more concrete?
It's metaphorical, but very practical. Let's say you have a crisis, a business failure, a creative block, a difficult relationship. That's the poison.
Okay.
It's toxic. It stresses you out. It keeps you stuck in the mud.
Definitely. The imposter syndrome poison is one I know well.
Right. But if you use AI to elevate your view, to analyze why it happened from a dozen different angles, to brainstorm 100 possible solutions, to see the hidden opportunities within the failure, you transform that crisis into a learning moment.
Ah, I see.
You turn the poison into the medicine that heals your process. The thing that felt like a curse becomes the cure.
So AI becomes the catalyst for that transformation. It reframes the threat into a tool for personal growth and mental clarity.
Precisely. Your vulnerability becomes your greatest asset. And that leads directly to the term he uses all the time. Active AI allies.
Active AI allies. I like the sound of that. It's not passive.
No, it implies a partnership, a
Right.
collaboration. It's not active AI overlords, it's an ally. And the source emphasizes that these allies are both human and machine.
Right. It's Nancy encouraging him to jump and the AI providing the wind. You need both.
You absolutely need both. And the goal of this alliance is impactful communication.
Impactful communication.
Right. Mike references his Medium.com article and the stats, 100 million unique visitors to the platform. The goal isn't just to talk to a computer. It's to use the computer to reach those millions of people more effectively, to make your ideas land, to be welcomed at the port.
So we have the dream and we have the philosophy. But Mike Hughes Hayes isn't just a dreamer. He's clearly a doer. He has a plan to roll this out, and he has a very specific target audience in mind. This brings us to the SAFE initiative.
SAFE, Senior AI Forum Educators.
Now, this is fascinating to me. Why seniors? Usually when tech companies launch a new AI initiative, they are targeting, 20-year-old coders or startups in hoodies. Why start with the older generation?
It goes right back to that idea of the gap. Seniors are often the ones who feel most stuck in the mud regarding technology.
They're the most intimidated.
The most intimidated, but, and this is the absolute key to the whole strategy, they also possess the most life wisdom.
So they have the perception and reasoning from decades of life, but maybe they lack the tool to express it in the modern digital age.
Exactly. They have the crystallized intelligence. They've seen the patterns. If you can give them the tools to soar, if you can button that shirt for them, or better yet, show them they can jump with it unbuttoned, you unlock a massive untapped reservoir of knowledge and stories. The source material highlights the gap where seniors are left behind, and SAFE is designed to close it.
So the big idea here is bringing the vision of the major AI players, companies like Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, specifically to the senior community.
It's democratizing the cutting edge.
Yeah.
It's saying this isn't just for the tech bros, this is for everyone. The source explicitly mentions taking the visions shared at the World Economic Forum.
Davos.
Yeah, Davos, the Olympus of global strategy, and making that accessible to everyday seniors and educators in their local communities.
That is a bridge I did not see coming. From Davos to the local senior center.
It's incredibly ambitious,
Mm.
and the implementation strategy is quite savvy. The source notes mention using Google Ad grants.
Right, promoting the use of these grants to support nonprofits. I've heard of these, but I don't know much about them.
Well, for those who don't know, Google offers substantial advertising grants. It can be up to $10,000 a month in-kind search advertising to qualifying nonprofits. It's huge. And Mike's plan involves leveraging these to get the message out, to find these seniors and educators who are ready to take the leap. It's a resource that is often underutilized, but here it's the engine of the outreach program.
Now, there is another very specific phrase in the SAFE documents that caught my eye. The Constitution of Claude.
Yes, this is a very specific reference, and it is vital to understanding the whole ethos here. Claude is the AI model developed by Anthropic.
Right, one of the main players. And what is the Constitution?
So constitutional AI is an approach where, instead of just training the AI on raw data and then trying to fix its bad habits later, you give it a set of principles, a constitution to follow from the very beginning.
What kind of principles?
Things like be helpful, be harmless, be honest, respect human rights. Basic stuff, but you bake it into the model's core.
So you're giving the AI a moral compass.
In a way, yes. The source talks about protecting AI with a heart and soul. By explicitly referencing the Constitution of Claude, Mike is aligning SAFE with that machines of loving grace ethos. He wants AI that is safe, principled, and benevolent by design.
It's not just about how to use ChatGPT to write a recipe. It's about how to engage with ethical AI to improve your life.
Exactly. It raises the bar for the conversation. It tells seniors, you aren't just learning a gadget, you are engaging with a principled entity. This builds trust.
And trust is the currency here.
It's everything. You won't jump out the window if you don't trust the physics. Seniors won't adopt AI if they don't trust its constitution.
And this connects to the global ambitions mentioned in the source. He wants to empower AI educators.
Yes, it's about creating a ripple effect.
Right.
A train-the-trainer model. You teach the educators who teach the seniors, who then share their wisdom with the world using these tools. It's a multiplication of impact.
Speaking of multiplication, let's talk about the roadmap. Because the source material details exactly how Mike plans to turn this dream into a movement. And it involves a pretty sophisticated media strategy.
It does. It centers around Medium and Authority magazine.
We mentioned the 100 million visitors earlier, but the plan isn't just to, publish a few articles and hope for the best.
No, not at all. It's about creating a gathering place. The source explicitly talks about a call to action, asking readers to post comments about their own elevation moments.
I love that. Turning the comment section, which, let's be honest, is usually the mud of the internet, into a place of elevation.
Is flipping the script again, turning poison into medicine. Instead of trolls and arguments, he wants stories of soaring.
And there is a plan to crowdsource a documentary from this.
Yes. The documentary framework is one of the key documents mentioned in the launch package. The whole concept is to film a documentary based on these comments, these stories, and the wishes shared by the community.
So it's user-generated content, but elevated. It's real stories of real people taking the leap.
It validates the experience. If you see someone else jumping with a loose parachute and flying, you're more likely to jump yourself. It's bottom-up storytelling versus a top-down mandate.
Now, we have to get a little meta here for a second. The source material heavily features a tool called Notebook LM,
which is Google's tool for this kind of work.
And we are, in a sense, a product of that exact vision right now, this conversation.
We are indeed. The source outlines a strategy for multimedia storytelling with Notebook LM.
It mentions creating audio overviews.
Like this deep dive.
Exactly. But it also talks about generating FAQs, guides, and reports from the same core material. The phrase used is the multiplication effect.
This is a crucial takeaway for our listeners who are interested in productivity or content creation. The idea is that you upload one core story like Mike's dream log, and the AI helps you generate 15 or more pieces of distinct content from it.
You get the blog post, you get the script for this deep dive, the FAQs, the operational structure.
It's the wind beneath your wings, in a very literal workflow sense. You provide the seed, the dream, And the active AI ally helps you grow the entire forest.
It maximizes the action level of that hierarchy we discussed.
And it solves the blank page problem instantly.
It also creates consistency. The launch package, detail in the source, the invitation, the documentary framework, the safe operational structure, all of these stem from that original seed of the dream. They are thematically consistent because they are all rooted in the same source material. Let's review those documents briefly. The invitation is for medium.
That's the come fly with me letter, the direct appeal to the reader.
The documentary framework.
That's the narrative arc for the film, mapping out the story he wants to tell with the community's help.
And the safe operational structure.
That's the nuts and bolts. Partnerships, funding, governance. It shows that Mike isn't just dreaming. He's building the runway, the plane, and the flight school all at once.
It is an incredibly comprehensive plan. It moves from the ethereal, a dream about St. Michael the Archangel and flying over water, to the incredibly concrete Google Ad grants and governance documents.
And that transition from the dream to the document is exactly what elevated AI communication is supposed to enable. It bridges the gap between the subconscious wish and the real-world action.
So we have unpacked the dream. We have explored the philosophy of the mud versus soaring. We've looked at the Safety Initiative for seniors and the media roadmap using Notebook LM.
It's a lot. It's a dense stack of material.
It is, but it all comes back to that image at the window.
The leap.
I want to synthesize this for everyone listening. The core message here is pretty radical. It says you don't have to be ready.
That's the synthesis point in our outline. The leap is now. If you wait until you understand every parameter of AI or until you feel completely safe, you will never leave the ground.
You'll stay in the mud.
You'll stay in the mud. The technology is moving exponentially. If you try to learn it all linearly before you jump, you will stay in the mud forever. You will always be behind.
And remember, Nancy.
Yes. The importance of human support. The active AI allies are also human. We need people in our corner saying, "I'm excited for you," just as much as we need the algorithm to process our data.
It's a dual alliance. Carbon and silicon working together.
Beautifully put. I like that.
As we wrap up, I want to reflect on that phrase one last time. Machines of loving grace.
It's a phrase that really challenges us. We are so conditioned to fear the machine, to see it as the threat.
The Terminator. Skynet.
All of it. But what if we viewed it as a vessel for grace? A tool that allows us to extend our humanity, to reach more people, to be more understanding, more reasonable in that philosophical sense.
And the democratization of it, that feels like a key part of the grace.
Right. Soaring shouldn't be reserved for the tech elite in Silicon Valley. It should be for the grandmother in Ohio who has a lifetime of stories to tell but doesn't know how to type them up.
Or the teacher who wants to reach students in a new way.
Exactly. Technology can invite everyone to see the world from that higher perspective.
To dip their feet in the ports of the world.
Exactly.
So, here is our final thought for you to chew on. And it's a provocative one.
If AI is truly the wind beneath your wings, if the technical lift is taken care of, where exactly do you want to fly?
We spend so much time worrying about the parachute, we forget to pick the destination.
And are you willing to jump before your shirt is buttoned?
That is the question. Mike Hughes Hayes did, and he claims it was the greatest dream of his life.
Maybe it's time for the rest of us to join him in the air.
I really want to drill down a bit more on this unbuttoned shirt metaphor because the more I think about it, the more layers I see. It's not just about technical skills, is it?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it cuts much deeper into our psychology. It's about perfectionism.
Perfectionism as the enemy of innovation, or the enemy of action, really.
Exactly. We live in a culture that demands we present a polished front. The buttoned-up look. We want to show the world that we have it all together, that every strap is secure. But the dream suggests that this desire for perfection is actually a weight. It keeps us grounded.
So the unbuttoned shirt is actually vulnerability? Is that what it is?
Yes. I think it's radical vulnerability. It's saying, I am imperfect, I am messy, I am exposed, but I am moving forward anyway. And interestingly, that vulnerability is what allows the grace to enter the picture.
If you are too armored up, you can't feel the wind.
That's a great way to put it. The loose straps mean there is room for movement, room for the unexpected. If you are strapped in too tight, you are rigid. And in a world of AI that changes every single week, rigidity is dangerous. Flexibility, even messy flexibility, is survival.
I also want to go back to the Constitution of Claude part for a second. We breezed past it, but I feel like for our listeners who are maybe skeptical of AI, this is the most important part.
You're right to circle back. It connects deeply to the machines of loving grace concept. It's what makes that phrase more than just a nice piece of poetry.
Because usually safety measures are dry, right? It's a long terms of service document. It's don't do X, don't do Y. But here, it's framed almost spiritually.
It is. When the source mentions the Constitution of Claude, alongside protecting AI with a heart and soul, it's suggesting that safety isn't just about preventing harm. It's about instilling positive values.
Values in a machine, which still sounds like science fiction to me.
It does, but it's becoming reality. If you are going to have an active AI ally, you want that ally to have character. You want it to be reliable, honest, and helpful. Mike sees this constitutional approach as the mechanism to ensure the grace part of the equation.
It prevents the wind from becoming a hurricane?
Perfect analogy. The wind lifts you, but if it's too chaotic, it destroys you. The Constitution acts as the weather controller, keeping the wind steady and benevolent.
And that is why it's so relevant for the seniors in the SAFE program. They need to trust the wind more than anyone.
Trust is everything. If you've been burned by technology before, or if you feel left behind, you're not going to jump unless you feel fundamentally safe. The Constitution is that safety net.
Okay, I also want to touch on the poison into medicine idea again. Can you give me another concrete example of how that might work, based on the source's philosophy?
Sure. Let's look at the source material itself. Mike had a dream. Now, for many people, a vivid dream might just be a fleeting moment. Or maybe he wakes up and feels anxiety about the unbuttoned shirt. That anxiety is the poison.
Right. I'm not ready. I'm disorganized. I'm vulnerable.
The imposter syndrome poison.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he applies the elevated perspective. He uses his reasoning and imagination, the third dimension of his framework, to reframe it. Wait a minute, I was flying. The lack of preparation didn't stop me. Maybe it enabled me.
So he turns the anxiety of being unprepared into the confidence of the leap.
Yes. The poison, which is vulnerability, becomes the medicine, which is faith. And then he uses the AI tools, the active allies, to solidify that medicine into a plan, a document, a movement. He operationalizes the epiphany.
It's cognitive reframing turbocharged by technology.
That's it. That's the elixir he talks about. From a weird dream to a global initiative. That's the alchemy.
I really like how the source material links the three-dimensional levels, specifically to perception, reasoning, and imagination. It feels like a roadmap for how to actually think with AI and not just use it.
It's a cognitive hierarchy. And most people stop at perception. Chatbot, summarize this text. That's just seeing.
Right, that's the basement level. It's useful, but it's not transformative.
But the reasoning level,
Yeah.
Chatbot, help me find the logical fallacies in my own argument
Yeah.
that elevates the mind. And imagination. Chatbot, give me 5 metaphors for this complex concept that expands the mind.
And action. Chatbot, draft the email to the World Economic Forum based on our refined argument and best metaphor.
Exactly. You have to move up the ladder. If you stay at the bottom, you're just playing in the mud. You are using a supercomputer as a very fast typewriter.
I want to go back to the visual of the ports. Dipping feet in the water. It's such a tactile, human detail for a dream about technology.
It grounds it. And I think that's why the source emphasizes it so much. Technology can feel sterile, abstract, code and data. But the dream insists on the water, the smiling faces, the waving.
It insists on humanity.
It insists that the destination of all this flying is us.
Yeah.
We fly to meet each other. We don't fly just to be alone in the sky.
That connects directly to the medium strategy, too, the gathering place.
Yes. He doesn't want to just broadcast. He wants to gather. He wants to create a digital port where people can dip their feet in the water of a shared experience.
And the launch package supports that. It's not just a manifesto, it's an invitation.
Join me. That's the core phrase. Join me to elevate all of mankind. It's inclusive. It's not, look at me fly. It's, come fly with me.
Let's talk about the documentary plan for a second. Crowdsourcing a film from comments, that's wildly ambitious.
It is, but it's completely consistent with the philosophy. If you truly believe everyone has an elevation story, then the only way to tell the truth is to weave those stories together. A top-down documentary made by a single director wouldn't work. It has to be bottom-up.
It has to be from the people in the ports.
Exactly.
And using Notebook LM to organize that, how would that even work?
Well, it's the only way it's feasible. Imagine trying to sift through thousands of comments manually to find the narrative threads. That's the maze of confusion.
You'd get stuck in the mud of the comments section.
But using the AI as an ally to identify patterns, to spot the recurring themes of leaps and fears and allies, that turns the noise into a signal. That turns the raw footage, so to speak, into a documentary framework.
So the tool makes the grand vision possible.
It elevates the creator's capacity. It allows one person, Mike, to do the work of an entire production studio.
That is the multiplication effect in action.
One story, 15 pieces of content, one dreamer, a global movement.
It really is a fascinating case study because it's not about a new chip or a new software release. It's about a new mindset.
A mindset of grace.
I keep coming back to that. Machines of loving grace. It's such a hopeful defiance of the current narrative of fear and replacement.
We need more of that. We need more defiance of the doomsday clock. We need more people willing to stand up and say, actually, this could be beautiful.
Idyllic, as Mike said. Heavenly.
A gift from God.
It's interesting how spiritual language permeates the source material. Saint Michael the Archangel is mentioned in the dream context.
It does. Wings like Saint Michael. It suggests protection, power, but used for good. Pushing back the darkness.
Pushing back the darkness. That's a line from the poem he wrote based on the dream.
It frames AI as a source of light, as a torch in the maze.
So if you are listening to this and you feel like you are in the dark,
Or in the mud.
Mike's message is, look up. The wind is there.
And you don't have to be perfect to catch it.
You just have to open the window
And jump.
with your shirt unbuttoned. Preferably.
I just love that detail. It's so human. It's so imperfectly, wonderfully human.
And that's why it works. If he was in a perfectly tailored suit with a NASA-grade parachute, it wouldn't be a leap of faith. It would just be a procedure.
The vulnerability is the point.
The vulnerability allows the grace to enter.
Wow. That is something to think about for a long time.
It really is.
This has been a really unique deep dive for us. We usually stick to hard data, market trends, technical specs.
We do. But sometimes the soft data, the dreams, the visions, the poems, is where the real insight hides.
The perception level implies seeing the data. The imagination level implies seeing the dream.
And we need both. You can't just have one.
We definitely need both.
Just like we need both Mike and Nancy, the dreamer and the supporter.
Leaper and the ally.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've soared pretty high today.
I think we have. I feel like I need to come back down to earth.
I'm feeling pretty elevated. Me too. My shirt is feeling a little unbuttoned, metaphorically speaking.
Let's keep it professional. But yes, the feeling of freedom is palpable in the source material.
It is infectious.
It makes me want to go check out those Medium articles you mentioned.
And read the comments. See if people are sharing their stories.
And maybe leave one.
I jumped today.
I soared today.
There would be a great comment thread.
The I soared today thread. I love it.
Powered by Safe.
And machines of loving grace.
Perfect.
All right, before we float away completely, let's bring it back to the ground for 1 second.
Splash down in the port.
If you want to engage with this, the source mentions specifically Medium.com and Authority Magazine. Look for Mike Hughes Hayes.
Look for the SAFE Initiative. Senior AI Forum Educators.
And look for the Constitution of Claude. Read up on that.
That's the guidebook.
That's the safety manual for the flight.
Don't leave home without it.
But do leave home without buttoning your shirt, apparently.
Apparently.
It's a paradox.
It's a mystery.
It's a dream.
But as Mike says, it wasn't a vision. This was a literal dream. And I don't want to ever forget it.
And thanks to this deep dive and the Notebook LM strategy, he won't.
And neither will we.
That's the power of documentation.
The power of storytelling.
The power of AI.
As an ally.
As an ally.
Indeed.
I think that's a wrap on our analysis.
I think so.
Any final words of wisdom?
It's just that question again. Where do you want to fly?
I'm going to be thinking about that all day.
Me too.
Thanks for listening, everyone. This has been The Deep Dive.
Keep soaring.
And keep jumping.
Gracefully.
With love and grace.
Bye for now.
See ya.